Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4! And today, spawning on the west side of the map, playing in blue, we've got Beastyqt playing as the Japanese. And battling against them today, spawning in on the east side of the map, playing in red, representing Team Liquid, it's Demu playing as the House of Lancaster. Welcome everyone to Relic River. And as always, hope you're all having a great morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And, well, it's House of Lancaster again. We've been featuring it a couple of times on the channel because it's an interesting new civilization, but I'm curious to see how they face up against the Japanese. Now, with the House of Lancaster, a civilization that does really revolve around the manors, the passive income from it can be very, very powerful. The question is, how can enemies disrupt that? Now, I'm curious because some civilizations do get landmarks where you can make units quite early in the feudal age, and the Japanese are one of such civilizations. You got access to the shinobi from the Cocker Township. And it's curious because we don't typically see that landmark on land maps. Sometimes we see it on some water maps, well, more water maps that, basically more shorefish than is present on this map. There's a couple of shorefishes down in the south, but not huge amounts. It's not really a traditional water map, this one. So we could maybe see in this particular matchup some of the shinobi. We'll be finding out soon enough. The question is really whether the Cura Storehouse, the benefits that give, is something that Beastie will want to go without in this matchup. It's a tough one because, of course, the Cura Storehouse, well, it's a very popular landmark for a very good reason for the Japanese. Incredibly powerful, free farms from it, acts as a drop-off point as well. Now, speaking of food, though, Beastie will be looking to push in some of the deer here with some spearmen he's got nice and early, which was actually relatively hidden here. There you go. There's the blacks or the barracks. And a big part of the reason why you might be getting this as well, going up against the House of Lancaster, is to try and punish these stone outcroppings. Because we talk about manors, but you have to fund them. And they are funded by, well, partially, by stone. Speaking of which, Demu is now moving out to that to gather it. It's going to be the Lancaster Castle as the landmark of choice. No real surprises there. A pretty good defensive landmark. Yeah, sure, the tooltip says military landmark, but in reality, it's more of a defensive one. It's going to be protecting that gold quite nicely, at least from this western approach, but the east side could be harassed a little bit, the gold villagers. The big deal, though, is that this is happening. So, kind of curious, because he went for the spearmen, and all he really achieved with it was to get the deer in. Moving the spearmen out now, but by the time they get there, Demu would have got a lot of the stone he needs for at least a couple of manors. It's going to be the Cura Storehouse. It was a decision point for this civilization in this matchup that I thought was very important. So no early aggression with the shinobi. Of course, he made a barracks, and that could have been the alternative, right? Send the spearmen across to disrupt the villagers on stone, but alas, hasn't chosen to do so. I feel like in this matchup, or many matchups against the House of Lancaster, this could be something that players could target a bit more because, of course, stop the manors, or stop the stone, you stop the manors, you stop the Lancaster boom. But easier said than done, though, of course, when you want to achieve your own goals and you're playing your own civilization to their strengths. Well, looks like Demu will be getting to the next stage quite a bit faster than Beastie today. Either way, hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel. I have been back after a bit of a break. And a special shout out, of course, as always, to everyone who's been supporting the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Special shout out, of course, to the YouTube channel members and Twitch subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is also an issue, right? Because it's about whether it's in the range, and you see the spearman couldn't really deny this very much at all. It's a big problem on this map in particular. Sometimes you can think about going for an outpost rush, but it's not really something the Japanese do, right? So maybe the Mongols or such like will have a bit more success at denying the manors from the House of Lancaster. Alas, we've gone beyond that. I should be able to get quite a bit of food. I wonder if it's going to be a race to the castle age. That's always a potential. The Japanese do like going for a fast castle. The only trouble is the House of Lancaster can do pretty well getting there as well. And they've got this magic button that generates units for them relatively cheaply. You get 2 demi-lancers and an additional one as well for each manor you have. It's a really nice power boost in terms of military numbers. You know, it can be very greedy as a House of Lancaster. This is quite a nice approach as well to take care of the deer. What if maybe Beastie might consider going professional scouts? Not something you really see with the Japanese, especially when you've got the Cura storehouse. But it might be just to deny the deer camp from his enemy, as much as it is to gather the deer for himself. Of course, every little bit of food helps to delay any sort of farming transition, which will be pretty smooth for the Japanese. As you can see, the first farm already has popped out for him from the Cura storehouse. He's vacated the stone. Demu's got enough for already 2 manors. Has got enough for another one as well. I think he needs a bit more wood. Just a trickle bit more wood, and he should be going for his 3rd one. There we go. He's rushing it down as well. It's quite okay, yeah, there we go. Just maybe click too many villagers. The real question is whether Beastie will look to try and commit to an outpost to protect the villagers and gold. That's a bit of wood he would need to do that, and he doesn't have that at the moment. Could potentially go for a straight fast castle, go for mounted samurai, leverage the mobility of them. But the biggest problem really with doing damage with the units generally, even if it is mounted samurai, is, well, if you're looking to dive your enemy's economy, a lot of the economy is tied up in manors, and there's no way to take that out with really without siege or mass melee units, which you won't have a mass of melee units in the early castle age, of course. Therefore, just have to target the villagers, but there's lots of garrisonable spots, right, that the villagers can hide in. And so, not being able to deny the manors means that the game is almost automatically heading into the mid to late game. And then it begs the question, how did the Japanese fare up against them in the late game? Well, this is super exciting though. Unexpected, go for the Temple of Equality. I was kind of half expecting him to maybe look to go for the relics. But the problem with doing that, actually trying to challenge for the relics, is that, well, we talked about it earlier. There's this magic button. As soon as he can afford it, I suspect Demu will be clicking this button, get the Demu Lancers out. I said Demu Lancers there for a second, but they are called Demi Lancers. And they would automatically upgrade as well from the Feudal Age version to the Castle Age version when he does get there. So it can be very difficult to pick up relics, because of course you've got the mobility of the Demi Lancers. They can just go and look to protect the relics, and it's very difficult to pick them up. It's going to be the White Tower as well, so, I mean, he can't really push into this base, right? You've got essentially 2 keeps and a powerful town centre. So very hard to punish this. Bear in mind this also acts as a production building, so again, really doubles down in terms of the production speed of his units. Goes for the Earl's Guard, in fact, actually. Gets a couple of those. Interesting. Actually, does the White Tower produce units for the House of Lancaster? Actually, that's something I need to double check. This doesn't seem like it, but that's something maybe in the YouTube comments you guys can just remind me. I was under the impression that it does, but I don't know if it's just the Observer tooltip doesn't show it or not. We'll see if any units do pop out. The problem is, how does he deal with the Earl's Guard here? Maybe could go for the Onimusha. The problem is that you need an archery range for that. The Japanese don't get crossbows, if I remember correctly. Taking a break from Age of Empires 4 does make things a little bit rusty. It does lose the first villager, and these Earl's Guard are going to absolutely rip these villagers to shreds. Maybe he might be regretting not getting that outpost now here, Beastie. Behind all this, do we see a monastery yet? There we go, yeah, there it is. So, Demu going to be looking to pick up those relics behind all of this. Interesting that he didn't go for the Demu Lancers, actually. He's going to go for the, he's got the Earl's Guards at least, of course. Going for the Buddhist temple. Interesting approach. So, there is an interesting thing we're talking about. We don't often see this landmark, so something to talk about is that you can get some Buddhist monks. They're a very good support unit. Speaking of support, this mounted samurai is going to need more support on his own. Taking a lot of HP off that one. Oh, it does snipe it in the end, so good pick off there by Demu. Yeah, but this unit's an interesting one. It actually is able to perform conversions, which actually enhances the unit's attack. Friendly unit's attack, that is. But it also automatically reduces the enemy's damage. Kind of cool interaction. Also, there is an upgrade for it. That means that, oh, he's already got it, by the way, that he actually generates gold every minute per Buddhist monk that he has. Now, should probably lose one of the Earl's Guard, but villager being pulled away, causing quite a bit of idle time. And in terms of income, you can see with only 2 villagers on food, he's actually got a decent amount of food coming on in. Of course, didn't tell you the whole picture there because I think Beastie did temporarily pull villagers off of food. They are back on food now. Let's tick over to the income per minute. Further manors on the field. Just an interesting approach. A couple of manors into the castle age and then add in more manors. Why wouldn't you? And looking to pick up relics. It looks like Beastie will be able to grab 2 of them at least. So that's a nice pickup for him. And the players will be starting to lose a bit of gold in their gold vein. Not much left there, so they're going to have to venture out onto the map. That's where having large unit numbers is really going to come into play. As many as they can get, the better. Going down to the south, very exposed in terms of how far away it is. It's got double outposts coming up that would certainly be helpful. Could see a lot of action down in the south of the map. Speaking of action, quite a few units there in the north. Just misses out on that monk. So it looks like Demu should be able to get away with 3 of the 5 relics. Adding all these manors now. It's going to be really powerful for that economy. As you can see, with only a handful of more villagers, just 3 more villagers, he's got way more than double the food income. Adding in barracks, interesting. So looking to try and nullify the threat of the mounted samurai and cavalry that's out here for Beastie. Spearman could be a good option for him, Demu. Yeah, he's actually going for a lot of Buddhist monks. You can see gathering some gold here every 60 seconds. Not a lot, but every little bit helps. 25 gold per minute. And he's mass producing them. Not a Japanese strategy you see every day. Beastie clearly trying something out. So we're heading into the 13th minute of the game almost. Pretty quiet, but that's what you expect when you go up against the House of Lancaster. Things really do build up. They come into a situation where the income is going a bit crazy. Look at that, almost 1,000. Yeah, almost. Well, it's more than 1,000. Almost 1,200 food per minute. It's got relatively similar amounts of villagers on food. It's an absolutely incredible economy. He's going to be able to flood units pretty soon here. I would have thought here, Demu. There they go. Here are the veteran demi-lancers. A little bit later than we've come to know from the House of Lancaster, but they've been evolving in their playstyles, at least a little bit in terms of timings. Not a lot in terms of overall strategy, of course, but it's good to see the demi-lancers out now. As we do see the daimyo mana coming on here for the Japanese. Increases the harvest rate of the farms at least, so that should bolster up the food income. So Beastie's going to push away the villagers off the berries and try and deny as much as he can. But this is the thing, right? You push the villagers off of berries, but he's still getting passive food from the manor. 60 food per minute. Not too shabby at all. It's got a lot of these monks, these Buddhist monks, but there are not too many units actually to fight with, which is curious enough. And that samurai does make a decent amount of sense because, of course, with the healing capabilities, you really want the units with a large pool of HP. As much as possible anyway, but look at this. Imperial Age coming in here for Demu. A fast Imperial Age strategy from the House of Lancaster. This is a really powerful landmark. I'd argue one of the most powerful landmarks in Age of Empires 4. Primarily because of how you can get there pretty safely, but also with how cheap these units are. Look at this. 2 spearmen, 2 crossbowmen, and a trebuchet. Just for a measly 400 units. Incredibly powerful. Also, look at this, 450 resources, 8 spearmen and an Earl's Guard. And it's more about the timing on it as well. So fast to make the units. Walls are coming up here for Beastie. Looks like he's gathering some stone, maybe for a second town centre, to try and build up an economy. Seems like he's going to try and go for the super late game. As Uma Bannerman is looking to help support the other mounted samurai. But overall, it doesn't feel like Beastie's been able to do as much damage as he perhaps would have wanted to. So we have to wait until later stages of the game. Now, Scootage is going to be getting 40 gold per minute per mana as well. It's going to really increase the income. One sacred site in play though for BC, so kind of nullifying the mid-map objectives in terms of relics and sacred sites, in terms of income for both players. Like I say, the ratio of the Buddhist monks to army is bewildering. Oh, gonna sneak around now. Unfortunately, the villager didn't quite get the palisade walls up. That's gotta be annoying because it's just a couple of well, just one tower really. A couple of bang on the hammer on that would have kept them out at least for a little while. But he doesn't get drawn into it. Go around the right side, double-pronged attack on both sides, and this is something smart, right? Because you gotta love that play, right? He just trickled in 2 of the Demi Lancers. Beastie pushed that army onto the west side, and then he cycled around on the right. He's taking some really big damage. The villagers going down on the wood line. Let's get the second town centre, so he's going to be looking to recover some, but good raid there. Beastie's been active very much as well, though, with his army. 5 villagers lost apiece. But now with Beastie with the second town centre, something that the Japanese do quite often when they get to the castle age, should be able to scale the villager count quite nicely. What is going on? That is a lot of these monks. He's starting to add in a couple more mounted samurai now. But these are elite units, don't forget. Demu now in the Imperial Age. This is where it becomes very, very scary for Beastie. He's going to keep the spearmen here on hand. That's so many spearmen. Look how many units he's just pumped out so quickly. It's absolutely madness. Takes no time at all. 23 seconds. For a total of 9 units. Absolutely bonkers. Bear in mind as well, Berkshire Palace becomes almost irrelevant in this situation because you've got the White Tower already. You've already got the Lancaster Castle. Granted, it's not that great of a defensive landmark in this late stage of the game, but it's still somewhere at least villagers can garrison. A couple of hits there. Starting to add in the veteran yeoman. Sure, the Imperial Age upgrade elite is coming in too. There we go. The massive armies just really caught out. It's really printed the units so fast. And when we talk about villager printers for the HRE and the Order of the Dragon, we've got the military printer from the Wingard Palace. Actually, a couple of these Demu Lancers will go down. I got dragged into a fight maybe they shouldn't be in. Beastie keeping a keen eye. Does have the sacred site in the north. I think you should get too much more joy with this Demu Lancer. Around the front. This is where it becomes crazy, right? There's just so many spearmen and they can just use their torches to torch everything down, really. They're looking to do just that. The question is, does Beastie have what it takes to deal with this? He's got mounted samurai, which is really not what he wants up against this number of spearmen. Gonna need to transition to something else. Springlords, it looks like, is on the menu. 2 siege workshops, but the timing on this for Demu is absolutely impeccable. Here come the conversions from the Buddhist monk, I'm sure. There it goes. The Buddhist monks are healing very quickly. Here come the mounted samurai right from the right side, but gotta feel like he's got enough here, Demu, to deal with this. Although the mounted samurai are right on top of the yeoman, which is not what Demu would want. The spearmen are kind of chasing down some of the monks. Looks like actually the samurai are getting some good value, but there's a group of spearmen there now. Probably not a very good fight for him. Gonna go for the Wallalo. Probably unlikely to get anything from that. On the right side, spearman numbers are going to go down eventually. Will be cleared out on the left side though. This is great idle times. Cooled 14 villagers in total. There's 30 villagers idle. More than half the economy for Beastie's idle right now, which is the big deal. He may get a couple of spearmen out of this Wallalo. Oh, okay. He managed to get out of it just. But the big deal is that whilst Demu has lost a lot of army, it's caused so much idle time, and I suspect Demu should be able to replace the army pretty quickly. Now granted, Beastie does have a good bank of resources, but he is stuck in the Castle Age, and that is a huge problem, because as soon as he commits to going to the Imperial Age, that's a lot of resources that have been put into it, and that means less army. Still, Beastie trying to keep active with his army, going up north now with the samurai. Demu is following us along. Certainly he's got to keep up the gold veins mining. Won't want to lose. Well, he's got 2,000 gold in the bank anyway. The short bows are out, and Spearman will take care of this. Units are in the right spot in the end. But he's going down south this time. A lot of these Buddhist monks. For stone, maybe for the next daimyo upgrade. Certainly looks to be the case. The income's still looking good here for Demu. Round the back with farms, slowly seeded them out. And even with the second town centre, would you believe, Beastyqt is on equal terms in terms of villagers, but you got to count in the manors with the House of Lancaster. That last push has been absolutely devastating. He's eventually going to go to the Imperial Age, and it's going to go with the Castle of the Crown, a very risky spot, I've got to say. They could be in danger of not getting that up. Villagers, uh-oh, that is not looking good. They're completely unguarded. You always run a risk if you venture out like that without any protection. He spots it in the end. Well, he got the notification on the sacred site, right? So he's got to run out of there. Oh, Yeoman, go for a massive shot. Okay, it wasn't as good as I thought it could have been. That's a bit disappointing. I was expecting the shot to have worked a little bit. I guess there weren't that many Yeomen involved. Does decap the sacred site. A couple of samurai go down. Villagers are pushing forward. Beastie, he really wants this control of this middle area, right? And it's because of the gold. That is the big deal. He needs the 8,000 gold vein, especially when they're both kind of on the north of the map. Look to protect the Castle of the Crow with the army he's got. And he should be able to, actually, in the end. Doesn't have all his army here. So concede this location, at least for now. But he's going to be feeling quite good in the sense that he's got a lot of his elite upgrades in. Beastie not even yet to the Imperial Age just yet. He's getting there. Slowly but surely. When you think about it as well, the food this brings in is such a cheap investment. Only 300 resources for a manor. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Considering how much value it gathers. And the Spearmen, will they look to just get the torches out? It looks like it. Now there are villagers on hand to try and repair this during a fight maybe. Springrunners are involved. Yeomen go for the shot, but doesn't quite land there. Beastie baited the shot in with the cavalry, then pulled back. It doesn't really feel like there's that many units to fight with, right? I mean, these monks, I guess, tanking for allowing the siege to do everything else behind it. Whether it's going to be enough or not, we'll have to see. Going to lose a couple of units on the retreat here, Demu. Villagers are now back out repairing. And he has built up a relatively healthy villager lead here, Beastie. But of course, he's fighting up against manors in terms of economy. And even with this villager lead, it's going to be hard to man. Oh, what's going on there? Of course, yeah, that's the Castle of the Crow. Shenanigans going on. He's got such a large army. So only going to keep increasing. Granted, Beastie is not in a terrible spot. He's got a good population, but the big concern is that he's got mostly Buddhist monks. 81 of them, to be exact. Well, there's 80 on the screen, anyway. Imagine going 80 Buddhist monks. Now, how many of you thought that would happen at the beginning of the game? I certainly didn't. Good to see, though. We'll see how it pans out. Certainly a curious choice. Now, the big concern I have for Beastie is that, sure, your main army is siege, but that's snipeable, right? These yeomen, they focus on the Springles, they'll take them down quite quickly. And then, what are you left with in terms of military units? Only 4 mounted samurai. Got a decent amount of food and gold in the bank though, so could start pumping soon. Probably needs more production. Stables are there, but go for the university first for some all-important upgrades, I suspect. So maybe Demu's eyeing up a big fight. I mean, this is the thing, right? The man is also very population efficient. So we've got 128 military here, only 70 villagers. He probably doesn't need any more, to be honest. He's going to just try and torch things down. He's going to go for the shot on the siege around the back. This is exactly what we talked about. I suspect Demu, if he does look to take the fight, he's going to try and focus fire on the Springalds. And there's just not that many units doing damage here for Beastie. Sure, he's got the debuff and the buffing of the allied units, but there's not that many allied units for the Japanese that can do some actual damage. It's mostly Buddhist monks. It's relying on the Castle of the Crow to get some value. But the elite spearmen are going to tank heavily, and he's just running in with the yeoman. Yeah, but he's sniping those Springalds. Not enough to one-shot, really, but he's taking so many of them out. Now, the Springles are being attacked by the Spearmen as well. They've broken through, and even the Castle of the Crow. I don't think it's going to be enough. Another massive shot with the Yeoman. Oh, this is not looking good at all here for Beastie. He's even got a trebuchet around the back to take the Castle of the Crow. The villagers, that won't be enough to repair, I don't think. Not with the trebuchet. There's just not enough military here for Beastie. He's going to have to retreat, but this is a position that you feel like he can't retreat from, because once he does, he gives up an 8,000 tile worth of gold. Yeah, 112 military versus 37. Wasn't the right army composition, I don't think, in the end, but it was fun to see at least 80 Buddhist monks. But in the end, he's going to need more than faith here to fight this. I'm sure the army would trickle in here for Demu. Also, the Castle of the Crow goes down. It's going to be a massive open pathway down the middle. He's got a couple of mangonels, so maybe that's the way back, but he's got to get some huge shots, right? And there's only 2 of them. It's questionable how much damage he will be able to achieve with that, as the Castle of the Crow is surely going to crumble anytime soon. It might even be the longbow or the yeoman arrows that deal the final blow. This army, it looks almost uncounterable. Spearmen and yeomen. There's not a single gold unit here, I don't think. Just crazy to think about. Oh, there's a couple of those Elsguard, I guess. Another massive shot with the yeoman. This is not looking good here for Beastie, especially if he loses the mangonels. Feels like the mangonels was his last hope. The spearmen are on top of them, though. Yeah, the numbers not looking good here for Beastie. The Buddhist monk's healing can only do so much. With that, Demu's just going to move on forward. He's got so much income. So does Beastie, to be fair. Just doesn't have the army or the population to supply at this stage. Looks like the mangonel's going to go down. One big shot. Incendiary arrows make such a big difference as well. They've already got huge amounts of range, these yeomen. And he even micros it till the end there, Demu. In the end, the Buddhist monks were not enough. GG gets called. Beastie taps out. And the House of Lancaster have done it again. Boy, oh boy, is there a way to stop them? Either way, hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care. And see you next time.